We're live. Hello. It's so nice to see you guys again. All right. Well, today is going to be really chill, really easy. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick rundown of the sort of warm ups that I do to warm up before I go to the studio, before I perform, before I do anything music related. Usually, I actually do these even before I know that I'm going to have a really intense, like, speaking day. So, yeah, I guess it'll be a short one, but that's okay. I hope you guys find it's useful. So first off, let's talk about warming up. Why is warming up important? Warming up is basically, and I think a lot of people, even people who have been singing for years, don't really think about singing this way, but your vocal folds are just muscles. They're just muscles. And you would never go to the gym and work out, or at least I hope you wouldn't. You would never go to the gym and work out without doing some sort of like stretching or warming up first, because that can be really harmful to your muscles, right? The same way that if you, you know, do a pretty hefty workout, can you tell that I don't work out very much? A hefty workout, an intensive workout. Let's go with that. If you do that, you're probably going to be sore, right? So with your voice, it's the same thing. If you get sick, what happens is your vocal folds swell up. And when they swell up, they can't vibrate perfectly together, which means that you lose your voice because the perfect vibrations aren't there. You're not producing sound as efficiently, and so your voice is gone. The worst thing that you can do when you're sick and your voice is gone is keep trying to talk because that's just straining more muscles. It's all just muscles. So warming up is, a very similar concept to that. If you're going to be using your voice for something that is very labor intensive, such as singing, because singing is a lot more labor intensive than the usual talking, especially if you're going to be belting a lot, you want to warm up because it's good for you. So yeah, that's kind of something that I always try to remind myself. I always also try to remind my students of that, is that your vocal folds are just muscles. So you got to treat them like you would treat any other muscle in your body. If you have a sprained ankle, you're not going to walk on it, right? So if your voice is tired or your voice is, hoarse, or you've been sick, or you just had a really long day of singing and talking, maybe don't use it as much. Just rest it. Which brings us to warm ups. So if I know that I'm going to be having a pretty intense day of speaking, that is using my voice quite a bit. So especially if I'm going to be teaching all day, I usually do like 4, 5, 6 hours of teaching any given day. And so I want to make sure that I warm up so that I'm fully prepared to go in and face whatever vocal things I have to be doing that day with my students, even if it's just talking. And then before I go to the studio, before I sing anything on a professional level, before I sing a gig, these are kind of some of the warm ups that I like to do. So let's start with straws. I talk about straw exercises all the time. The technical term for them is semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. And basically, don't ask me to get too nitty-gritty in the science of this, but the easy explanation is that something about singing and sending all of your breath and your sound through a straw of about this size. It's very small. It's kind of like a coffee straw. I use coffee straws with my students. I try to find recyclable and like biodegradable coffee straws. I can't find them. So if anyone knows of any, let me know. But the thing about this, a straw this size, is that when you sing through it, it basically optimizes your vocal folds to be vibrating at the most efficient and relaxed level. So your vocal folds are not doing any sort of strained muscle work. They're just vibrating at perfect efficiency, and your breath is what's doing all of the work because it takes a heck of a lot of breath to send it through this teeny tiny little straw. So it's incredibly good for you. It's basically like a reset button for your voice. These are amazing when you're sick, when you've been singing a lot and you're really fatigued. I like to start out warm ups with this because it really just gives a good sense of like, we're here, we are beginning, we are singing. Let's start off on the right foot. And today, actually, I had a day off. So this is probably the first time that I'm speaking a lot continuously, so my voice is like waking itself up, and this is a perfect way to wake your voice up. So basically what you're going to do is just blow through it, but you're going to put sound through it, like basically. And that's what it sounds like. It takes a lot of breath. So what I usually like to do is I'll start kind of on the lower end of my range. Let's see if you guys can hear that. I'll lift it up. Yes, and I'll just go. Oh, Hugo really doesn't like that. It's just straw exercises. He just buried his head under the blanket. It does sound weird. It sounds very strange, but you know, it's really good for you. And so on and so forth until you get to your highest comfortable note. An alternative to straws, so this specifically, I will say, is an Uvo straw. It was designed with singing in mind. So it's not just like a tiny little straw for whatever. Like this is specifically a straw that was designed for semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. It comes on a chain. So, oh my God, my glasses just. So if you're a nerd like me, you can just like wear it around all the time. It's great. But what I usually do is I keep it in its little case that it comes in, and I carry it around with me everywhere. I carry it in my teaching bag, and on my days off, I carry it in my purse. Because you just never know when you're going to need a quick and efficient warm up. But for me, after I've done that and I go, ah, it literally feels like a waterfall. Like my voice just tumbles out of my body. It's so easy to sing after doing semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. So if you don't have a straw and you still want to do this, you can totally do any sound that requires a lot of breath and has a teeny tiny little opening for your voice to go through. So for example, we could even go or zzz. I tend to like zzz a little less. V is kind of my preferred one. So we can go. Lip trills utilize the same concept of a lot of breath and a lot of efficiency, or V sounds. So whatever works for you, whatever you can do. Not everybody just has straws laying around casually. So if you don't have straws, definitely do V or lip trills or whatever feels comfortable for you. And then next, usually what I like to do is after I've done some of that, I like to go into my head voice a little bit. And so I'll come over here and I'll go, like an NG sound. So on and so forth until I reach a pretty high note. And that is kind of following along the same concept, but it's just warming up your voice comfortably, slowly. You've gone from semi-occluded vocal tract exercises to something that's now a little bit more open. And then I like to go through my belt. So I'm going to step away from the microphone for this one a little bit. But one of the best ways to get into my belt for me, I wasn't comfortable belting for a really long time. I didn't really understand what it was. And so when it was finally explained to me by my voice teacher in college, it really is just the same voice that you use to speak. It's that easy, and you just extend it upward. So it shouldn't feel like yelling. It shouldn't feel strained. It should just feel confident and resonant, and the same way that you feel when you're speaking. So what I like to do to kind of settle myself into my chest voice and start to do some belting exercises is I just make a lot of loud noises for a second. Hey, whoa, ho, whoa. And then I do, no, I don't want to, ma. So the reason this helps a lot is because you're starting with speaking. No, I don't want to. Ma. You're dragging that sound upward. And then you just keep going. No, I don't want to. Ma. No, I don't want to. Ma. So you'll notice one of the things that I'm doing a lot when I'm belting is ah. Ha ha ha. My mouth is really wide open and my cheeks are lifted. And the reason for that is because what really helps, especially as you get higher in your belt, no, I don't want to. Ma. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hugo. He's just like, why are you being so loud? What really helps, especially as you're getting higher into your belt, is moving the sound forward. You want your resonance to be a little bit more towards your nose. And so lifting your cheeks really helps with that, because if we were to just go, no, I don't want to, ma, I can still do it. And it's totally fine. But the higher you get, the harder it's going to be, because you're not lifting and giving yourself that space inside your mouth. Ma. And this is also going to help you transition upward into your head voice or into a little bit more of a mixed voice, if that is what you do. Basically, just giving yourself more space is usually a good rule of thumb. 9 times out of 10, if there's an issue hitting a high note, more space. Your voice needs room to come out. So that's all that is. And then what I like to do once I've warmed up my belt is I do one of my favorite exercises to really drag my chest voice upward and my mixed voice. And it is so again, the big bright vowels in this, they're all very nasally and nasty. It's really going to help me drag my sound upward. That's starting to get pretty high for me. That's a C. But I could keep going a little bit. Basically, what I really love about that is because the sounds are so nasally and open and you're not singing any words whatsoever, it really helps you understand how far up you can drag your chest voice. And then when you add words into the mix, depending on the type of word that it is, depending on the phrasing, your breathing, everything, all of that when you're singing a song is going to change how comfortable you are on the very highest notes of your chest voice. Because, for example, if I've got a word up here and it's I was listening to Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo earlier. So if I'm singing the word, you're still a traitor, the way that she does, that's a really open vowel. Not the right note, but that's a really open vowel. I could probably get up there and belt that really easily because it's an vowel. However, if we were going to, if we were going to belt literally anything that involves a closed vowel, like an O, a dark vowel like an O, or anything with an R. Let's take traitor. Let's keep with the word traitor. If I was going, you're still a traitor, it would be awful to belt that. You're still a traitor. Not as great. That's probably why in that song she chose you're still a traitor, because that's a lot easier to belt. So yeah, that's my random example for the day. But yeah, those are the warm-ups that I tend to gravitate towards. I do straw exercises. I do some more like head voice heavy exercises. I get into my belt and then I try to combine the two using the because that's a really great way to get into your mixed voice as well. And that's about it. It's a quick live stream today, but I really just wanted to give you guys some helpful tips for warming up. If you try any of these and you love them, let me know. If you hate them, also let me know. I know straw exercises are always really fun. Like whenever I take out the straws for my students, they're like, oh my God, what's that? What are we doing? But they really, really help. They genuinely help. I definitely have had people come in before that didn't really think they had as much access to their head voice, or it was really unstable up there, and or like the break in their voice between their chest voice and their head voice was really, really strong. And after a couple months of doing straw exercises, just like a couple times a week, their voice is so much smoother. So I definitely would recommend, if you take nothing else from this, take two tips. Don't strain your voice, just treat it like a muscle, rest it when it needs to be rested, and warm it up before you're about to do anything with it. And do straw exercises. So yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you guys next month. The drawing room email goes out next week. I think next week is, yeah, the first week of June. So you got it. I'm excited. I've already recorded the song that I'm going to send you guys, and we'll see what kind of topics we can come up with. Bye.